Hey everybody, welcome back to another reading. For this one, we're going to be doing the month of March 2024. And if you follow my channel, thank you, then you may have noticed something different. I am visible and I'm still getting used to it, so we'll just explore this a little bit together. The reason why I'm on camera for this reading, and I might pepper some on-camera readings in the future, is because I'd like to segue into being more visible presence, because my guides told me to do it. But anyway, and that's just where we are. We're just keeping it 100 here, and it's wonderful to connect with you. I will just say this, because if you follow my channel, you also understand that I'm a big proponent of paying attention to the energies and not over attaching to the form. And I think that sometimes our conscious minds do need, that's the guides telling me, okay, our conscious minds do need to have a form, person, place, thing, situation, idea, especially visibly, to be able to connect into. That was also me rolling my eyes. So now that I'm on camera, you get to see that, discussion that's happening instead of just my hands. But it's important to connect to the messages. So remember that wherever you find yourself along your personal journey, you're here for the messages and not to project your ideas about anything onto me. I'm not your guru, I'm not your mom, I'm not things like that. So that being said, I am your friendly local reader, friendly local healer, and today we're going to be taking a look at the energies for March 2024, and I would like to talk a little bit about soul integration. So let's do the soul integration first and foremost. Basically, soul integration is just a process of bringing the different aspects of you, the different fragments of you being your soul, which is huge, back into what? Congruence with whom? You, at the higher level. That's what you're here for. You're here to, I guess, get to know who you are, but really it's to remember who you are. The higher part of you, because you're a multidimensional being, the higher part of you knows who you are. There's no conflict. There's no confusion at all. Just like there's only one. We're all just one. I'm just a reflection of you. You're a reflection of me. Things that we carry inside, we're all connected. There's no separation. We're all connected. I'm this cup, all of that. There's oneness. But from this level of the field, this level of creation, let's go ahead and just call it the third dimension. From this perspective, with this perception, where there are so many obstacles and there's limitation because of the conditioned mind, we perceive of there as being separation, which is not true. So just so you know, if you follow this channel, you already know that I read from different levels of the field. And I will do my best to let you know when I'm reading from a higher perspective, when we say things that seem a little bit more abstract and more blanketed, I will let you know when I'm doing that, as opposed to when I'm reading closer to here. And that's when we start getting details like, oh, who and what and when and what's going on. But the whole point is for us to start to understand how these are actually, this higher dimension and lower dimension, how they're actually reflections of each other. And so that's why, for example, when a lot of you come to have readings with me, and thank you so much, much appreciated. My job is basically to say, hey, this is what's going on in your field, and this is how you will possibly experience it, right? Now, that segue into the soul integration talk is to remind you that everything that you're doing and experiencing, the idea is to kind of wake you up a little bit so that you can get a more conscious idea of what you're doing, hopefully why you're doing it, and then resolve whatever the underlying issues, the traumas, whatever the conscious mind or subconscious mind belief is that allowed you to stay in that belief in separation. Wow, this is so much harder to explain it when I'm conscious of you guys watching me, but it's okay, we're gonna do it. The guides are like, we're gonna do this. Okay, we're doing it. Look, I just split the deck, we're doing it. So what are we doing? Soul integration. Here's the process, and I will make a video, again, more official video, quicker, more to the point, maybe a PDF or some slides, and my head will be in a small bubble, but that's to come. But number one, what happens is here you are in the physical. you have your energy body, which we know is your auric field. And part of that auric field is visible from this third dimension. They're so funny. They're like, oh, finally. Sorry. From this third dimension of physicality. How is part of that auric field visible? It's visible because you have cute little physical eyes, which can perceive of energy that is vibrating at such a, I guess, low frequency that it is physical to you. And because we have belief in separation, we will perceive two things as being separate. Or 1, 2, 3. But it's actually one thing, but it's your beliefs. Once you continue with your soul integration process, eventually getting back to a state of oneness, you will see that there is only one. That being said, when you have some type of trauma, past life traumas, which we are carrying, embarrassments, shame, guilt, whatever it is, even in this lifetime, what happens is that a part of you splits off a little bit because it's too painful for your conscious mind to process that. And we talk about this in terms of psychology, like, oh, denial, oh, dissociation, oh, what else? There are so many things. Depersonalization, whatever it is, it speaks to this process of a part of your consciousness, which is all you are, your awareness, splitting off and going into where? The unconscious, the unaware. It's just there. And sometimes this happens because of system overload, is what they're saying basically. And that's why memory is so faulty, right? And I know that a lot of you are going straight to the mind, and the brain, and locating different parts of the brain and all of that. But just trust me on this, energetically, this is what's happening. And that feeds into what then goes on in the physical body. But sometimes it's system overload, and your consciousness is like, well, I don't have to remember what color that cup is or whatever that is. So there's a little bit of a picking and choosing that goes on some level of the field. But that being said, when the trauma is so great, the energy can fracture a little bit, fragment a bit. And that fragmentation can then just hide from us somewhere. So when you come into a reading with me, I'm seeing it and we're all having this conversation, me, you, the fragments, we're having that conversation. But they'll just hide a little bit out of view if it's like just too much to focus on. When it's even stronger, it'll not only just hide out of view, it may lodge into certain parts of the body and hide there. Like, for example, it'll hide under your ribs or in your bladder or your wrist or just things like that. So when you go to get your hands-on therapy, sometimes they'll press a point and you feel something leave, or you feel like a gut reaction or anger, or some of you will just dissociate again when you feel that pain come more to the forefront, right? Because it's somewhere in your body. Sometimes we also need energy work to help pull those things out of certain parts of your body and back into awareness. And then, of course, the most, I'd say the most severe of this fragmentation process is when that energy, your consciousness, splits off and doesn't hide in the body or then hide in the field, your energy field, to kind of be away from you, but it splits off and is left in a certain time and place somewhere else altogether. So that's when you have to get shamanic work to move through time and space to retrieve, this is soul retrieval, those fragments. And a lot of you guys, you got pieces of your soul hanging out on Mars or other places that you want to retrieve those. Sometimes, for example, I remember that I heard this story and I thought that, oh yeah, that makes sense. There was a woman who was describing having had a really bad, what was that one? Oh, she was out camping, not to get into too many details, and her and her friend were attacked and the friend died. It was like with an axe and all of that, and she lived, but you can imagine the trauma with that. And of course she lives the next few decades pretty much living in the shadow of this trauma and basically collecting herself along the way. And what happened is she eventually got to a place in her healing, as traumatizing as it still was, but got to a place in her healing where she was able to collect herself enough, where she felt comfortable enough to revisit the actual location where it all went down, the camping spot. And when she went there, she said that in the account that we were listening to, when she went there, she just broke down and she was just crying. And she said it felt like a piece of me had come back. Like a part that I'd lost, I re-encountered with. Right? That's the whole point. So when you are, that's why also be careful when we say things like, oh, when he left, he took a piece of me with him. Yeah, he did. But you allowed it to go. Anyway, that's another level when we're talking about agency and personal responsibility for our energetic input and output. But long story short, yeah, people are carrying your parts of your energy with them, sometimes inadvertently. When we think about codependency as well, the latching on, right? So anyway, long story short, if you're watching this video, thank you so much, but you may have been experiencing recently a lot of what may feel like upheaval, or the guides are saying, yeah, temptations. Let's talk about that. When we're feeling these temptations, some people may call them hungry ghosts. That's another thing. Sometimes you have attachments to you because they're attached to the wounds that you still have. So that time you think you just want another drink of something, or you want to go out dancing, or you want to stay home and not get out of bed, but it's actually not you. It's the energies that are attached to you that are working through you. There's that. When you bring yourself back in through retrieving your energy, collecting yourself, becoming more integrated, when you do that, these things naturally go because you're actively healing yourself. It's when there's that void or that feeling of lack, that missing something, these things can attach to you because, well, it's something to fill the space. But yeah, so yeah, where was I going with that? Anyway, I can go on and on with that. But long story short, all of us down here are on a mission for ourselves to recollect ourselves, get back in touch with ourselves, call ourselves back into integration. And as we do that, we heal. And we're moving towards greater soul integration and oneness. Now, the process of what I actually wanted to talk to you about, the process of actually experiencing that return of ourselves, our little aspects and our some of them from past lifetimes, but also just the parts of us that we lost, that can be very jarring. So just very simply, like 5 minutes hopefully, here's what happens. What happens is that there is an energetic, number one, there's an energetic influx that comes into your field. Higher energy comes into an energetic vessel, your auric field, that has a lower frequency. You know, your shadows, things like that, they're in your field. Now, what is that higher energy? It could be a call, you know, when you're feeling a calling, that's just energy coming in, touching your field, and you're responding to it. So it's like, you're a vibrational match to it. Also, the incoming energy could be, let's say, on a full moon, eclipses. That's why people go a little nuts and crazy around those times, because the energy is coming in. It could be simply also, for example, being in proximity to somebody whose energy is at a higher vibration than yours, right? It's going to trigger you. You know, you come home and you're like, hey, friends and family, I just won $50,000. And then you see some people mean mugging you, and they're triggered. They're big triggered right now. It's just that your energy is so buoyant and so exciting and bubbly that it's touching their lower fields. Somebody is like, lower chakras. Yeah, they're lower chakras there. And so it's definitely lower chakras. And so it's triggering them. But what that basically is energy comes in to your energy field, and if it's a vibrational match, it will start to resonate with something inside of you. If it's a vibrational match, it's doing this. Or if it's too high, it's going to rattle everything that's lower than that until it's, you know, it has to leave your field. It just has to. Now, a quick example, if you are feeling really like down and you're feeling out of it, and you walk into your friend circle and everyone's like, hey man, what's going on, blah, 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 blah. Their energy is so high right now that if that energy is stronger than and more dominant than your low mood, it's going to rattle you, of course. And then, you know, you're going to laugh. You have no choice but to laugh, and then it raises your energy. But if your energy frequency is so low and it's more dominant for you, then that high buoyancy energy, you might bring the mood of the whole place down, right? So we're looking to see how these higher and lower frequencies engage with each other. But either way, when we have such a high frequency meeting a low frequency, there's going to be a rattling. So the influx of energy comes, it kicks up, as I like to say, the lower frequencies, the shadow energies, all of the things that you have hidden from yourself, from other people, and then you start to experience that when it comes up. Now, if you're a real G and you're really bringing that conscious mind awareness and mindfulness to this process, you understand, okay, something's coming up for me. How do you know something's coming up for you? Well, boom, you're having aches and pains. Immediately, that's a dead giveaway that something's shifting on the inside. Or you're starting to notice your nostalgia or your feelings about your ex or this and that, or wow, this person keeps coming to mind, or oh wow, I keep thinking about when I used to live in so and so. These things are all just coming up, and they just happen to be passing your conscious mind on the way out or just in their flurry, and you're aware of it. And so when you're aware of these things, the question is, what do you do about it? You have the thought about that ex, oh, maybe I should call him and we're going to get back together. Wrong. That is the biggest thing you should never do. Happens every Mercury retrograde, every Venus retrograde. This person's coming up and now you're thinking, oh, this is a sign. It's not a sign. This is just that energy frequency is rattling inside of you, and it's being called for reflection. And if you're not careful, the form, person, place, thing, situation, idea, that is a vibrational match to that, your ex, you'll get duped into thinking that it's about the ex and it's a sign and God wants this, and it's not. You disconnect the form from the energy. That's it. It's only about the energy. And you look at it. Oh, I'm thinking about my ex and he was this, that, or she was this, that. It's a reflection of what's going on inside of you. Let's look at that energy inside of you. How does it make you feel? What does it make you want to do? How can you care for yourself better in this moment, right? That's all this is asking you to do. It's just one long flex of self-reflection so you can bring conscious mind awareness to what's happening in your energetic field as it's being made physical for you, and you can release it. So when we go through the process of soul integration, and I know there's a long-winded, roundabout way of saying all this, I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this out one take and not do and redo. But when we go through this process, as you will continue to go through and will feel a lot in the next few months, it behooves you to just be aware that you're just integrating energy. Higher frequency energy comes in, rattles, vibrates with the lower frequencies. They come up, annoy you, stress you out, throw you down the stairs, get you all riled up, get you befuddled, confused. That's your time to notice something's going on. What am I going to do about it? And if your first thought is to go into gut reaction, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to lash out at that person, I'm going to walk around in this mood, and it doesn't understand what you're doing. You do it, but understand that you're having a gut reaction to energy that's kicking up in your own field. Whose energy? Your energy. That's all it is. And as you do that, you reflect upon it, you look it in the face, and you do your best to understand. Of course, you can also reach out to people like me, or someone you trust and can be objective with what's going on with you, and work through that. Self-care is important. Self-acceptance. Why self-acceptance is important is because the whole reason why these energies were shifted out of your consciousness in the first place is because it was too much for you on some level of your field, your consciousness, to process at the time or to identify with. If you saw something, remember, if you spot it, you got it on some level of your field. You may not in this lifetime remember it, but roll in and we'll talk about it, right? But Sometimes it's just too painful to look at, and it's like shoving it in a closet. So it's that denial, that self-doubting, that's dissociation. But when it's time for it to come back in, you still have to look at it and be okay with it. That's the acceptance. And self-acceptance could look as simple as, oh, this makes me feel bad because it makes me feel like I'm a bad person, and maybe I this and that, and I'm guilty, and you know what? I value that I have that awareness to see what I'm making these feelings mean about me. Flash forward in 2 years, you're going to make those feelings mean something else. 3 years ago, you would have made them feel something else, or mean something else. It's only your own meaning making that is occurring here. If someone hands you some glasses, that's what happened. But maybe you made it mean that they're tired of handing it to you, so maybe you're now, apprehensive of asking them again, or, maybe they handed it to you in a salty way as far as you're concerned, or who's this guy handing me these glasses? Like, I want to have my glasses ready. That's all your stuff and your programming. And so one of the things that we try to do on this channel is to help bring conscious mind awareness to what is happening, what you're making it mean, how you're reacting to it, and all of those things so that you can clean it up. Because at the end of the day, you are the maker, interpreter, experiencer, and interpreter of the world that you see and experience around you. That's it. Now, when I say maker, I'm not talking about the creator, because to create is to be in alignment with that divine energy. Now, you do create, but I would argue that you're making more than you're creating. When you're making, that is when you are making things. It looks like creation, but it's not, because it's actually not in alignment with that higher energy. It's more in alignment with fear-based conditioning and programming and this and that. And when you have these low self-worth ideas about yourself that are guilt-ridden and shame-ridden and programming from family and ancestral stuff and your society and your sub-society and your culture and your race and your identity. Making, okay? Because you're making a conclusion based off of things that aren't real. And I guarantee you, if you've ever traveled, you can go to the next city, the next state, the next country, the next hemisphere, and have a completely different idea about stuff that you took all seriously and that you made mean something. And we know that as kids, when you had a sleepover at your friend's house, all of a sudden you realize, oh my God, your mom's not mad that you're eating in your room tonight when you have company. No, why? I asked her and she said it's okay, it's not a big deal. She knows we want to chat about stuff and we only have that much time in our night after school and before bedtime and after homework to kind of hang out. She's just giving us that space to enjoy ourselves. What are you talking about? Meanwhile, your mom would have been like, what are you doing? Get in here. First of all, what sleepover? I don't know those people, right? So, if you can even shift into having a sleepover, it'd be completely different. So understand that the conclusions that you're making about your world are not necessarily reality. And when we are so fragmented and split off because there are things we don't want to look at from past lifetimes or from this lifetime, or things that we don't want to be associated with, it hurts too much, it makes me feel bad, and blah, blah, blah. All you're doing is whoosh, fragmenting. And the more you confront the things that are coming up for you and you pull them in, and you accept them, they literally fold into you and integrate. Now, if you think about it, we are all sparks of the divine. You've heard that. We're all aspects of all that is. Sure, there's all that is, and we're in there. But right now, as Jonelle, I am the most, I guess, individuated. We all are here. A very, very individuated aspect of what all that is. We're sparks of the divine. But from this level of perspective where we are seeing such differentiation, you, me, he, she, they, right? It's inconceivable to have this idea of oneness. And so I guess, long story short, this is much longer than I wanted, but to fight against the over-perfectionism, Capricorn South Node energies, I'm just going to put it out the way it is, and then I'll put out another video later that is more tailored to this topic. But long story short, You need to get yourself together. I'm just kidding. You need to get it together. We have to get it together. Collect yourself. Pull yourself together. Hold it together. All of this stuff is the same thing. Come back to yourself. Welcome back. Okay? Now, it's interesting because as I'm talking to you guys, we're all watching at the conscious mind level. However, please understand that there are other aspects of you, like I said, that you may or may not even be aware of, that are watching too. And in fact, when we're in sessions together, thank you, shout out to my clients, God bless, one love, right? But when we're in sessions together, we're very, very often having conversations with these aspects who were brought into the session for the sake of everyone being aware. Like, oh, that's why I've been wanting to have pizza for the last 5 days. It's because an aspect of me has been integrating, and this part of me loves pizza. But I've always hated it, or I've just been like whatever about it because I was so cut off from that part of myself. No wonder I've been wanting to write a book for the last month. And it's so funny because I don't know why, but the neighbor next door is so annoying. They're always knocking late at the door, like, get a key. And so it wakes me up in the night, and then here I am watching. My guides were like watching. We're just like, out here, one of these. Why? Because, hey, there's a part of you knocking at your door. Hello, I'm here. We got to write this book. Let's integrate. With me, I'm bringing the knowledge for you to write the book. Of course, you don't know what you want to write the book about. And everyone and their mother's like, you got to write a book. And you're like, why? I don't know what to talk about. And that part of you is trying to integrate. And here you are in the session with me. And now it's integrating, and boom. You're like, oh, that makes sense. Inside, outside. As within, so without. So you may not know, but that knocking at the door is when the neighbor, seemingly unrelated to you, is literally your consciousness literally arranging the molecules and the matter in your world, your construct, to wake you up. That's what this life is about. It's to wake you up. And time. Let's talk about time. It doesn't exist, but it exists here on earth and in this third dimension. Unless you're a time lord, you know who you are. I know it sounds strange to a lot of people, but if you know, you know. But it exists for the gift of you to take the time you want, because you're the conscious mind, decision maker here, to take the time that you want to make the decision. What decision? Love, integration, returning to oneness. That's all this is. Now, you can do that this lifetime, you can do it in the next 10 lifetimes, doesn't matter. But when you get yourself on the ascension journey, if you're watching this video, then you are clearly on this journey. And in this lifetime, at this time and space, you are at a stage where your conscious mind has to get involved. You need to bring mindfulness to it. Because what's it? This is a fully energetic process, and you can only get so far ascending along your journey higher into higher frequencies without hitting the ceiling. And what is the ceiling? The ceiling is for you to stop living in this old mainstream idea of separation. Oh, the news. Oh, this person's running for this election. Oh, that person, this person said that. It doesn't make sense. It's time to look at the reality of what's happening, and that conversation requires even the most basic understanding of how energy works. Okay? Your energy. That's it. And again, I don't want to take forever to do this video because my conscious mind is like, but it's not perfect. And I'm just trying to beat it up a little bit. Beat it out, sorry. No self-beatings. But so I'll bring more of that information forward. And as you can see, the guides are really kicking me in the buns to do it. Now, going back to October, remember, as I said, back in October readings, the guides have been talking for the past few months. Guides. Yeah, you guys are guides. You're guides to other people. Notice I will say that, but the guides have been talking and channeling about the need for those in the mission-based community, whether you want to call yourselves light workers, starseeds, earth angels, indigo children, crystal children, time lords, incarnated unicorns, all of you from wherever you came from, Pleiadians, all this, from wherever you came from, wherever you think you came from, where you really came from, it doesn't matter. You're part of the mission-based community because you're here to be of service to others. But really, that starts with you. You have to heal what? Yourself. Not your body, perception. Heal your perceptions, your mind. Get into alignment with who? You. That's it. Pull yourself together. Now, that's what they were saying since October. They were like, you guys have to be ready for around April, May, June, July, these months. Guys, you feel the energies? Why do you have to be ready? Because there's going to be a mass wave. Now, again, it doesn't matter what the wave is, for us to feel into what that wave is another dimensional thing. From where you are in this conscious mind state, it's important to just know, be ready to face yourself. Because energy coming in is going to rattle you. And if you're here to lead other people, and some of you, like I said, are leaders of leaders, because, just like in the teaching world, you guys know that that's my field, teaching, in my 3D career. Yeah, we have students, yay! And we're all students either way, students of something, right? Anything. But there are teachers who teach students, we get it. Then there are teachers who teach teachers that teach students. And then there are teachers who, right? So it just continues. So they're saying, for those of you who are leading others in this awakening, this, I just heard, anyway, in this integration process, you're leading by example. You're getting out there, you're manning your stations, whether it's because you're a healer, whether it's that you work in the IRS office, but you're there to assist people with feeling more confident in their life when it comes to their finances. We're everywhere. You're just here to be a soft landing for people, to help them to understand what they're going through, to help them to know that they're not alone, and to help them to know that there is a process that's happening. And it's understandable that they will struggle with it because in their world, mainstream society, the process is not properly reflected. If you find yourself in the company of people who still say pejorative things like, oh, woo woo, oh, she's out there, oh, these people are who you're going to be assisting with understanding what they're going through. And they're going to be going nuts because their framework doesn't allow for that understanding. They've been conditioned to see this stuff, which is their reality, everyone's reality, only to the limit that they've been allowed to and they've been conditioned to. And just trust that if these messages are for you, this is the time where you have to get yourself together so that you can be ready, not necessarily to have those conversations, but to be a vibrational example of how to process these energies when they come. You're not necessarily here to force people to do anything. There are people who came down here in this lifetime in their soul contract. They're not here to have this ascension journey. They're here to maybe bring through innovations in other ways. They're here to maybe just have a lifetime, a drop in the bucket lifetime so that they can work on something and they'll never come across any of this stuff. But for the people who are here for the purposes of having that soul shift, where they're like here to have that, the potential is there to have this shift to wherever it is that they're going, then this is the stuff that you're going to assist them with in your own way, okay? But what was I going to say? Yeah, so now's the time to do it. Now, it's interesting. I don't know if any of you follow Lee Harris. Love him. Lee Harris, Leeharris. Lee Harris, check him out. Excellent collective reader. Now, he is so in tune with the collective consciousness, or I would say that we are attuning to the same collective consciousness. Duh, I watch him. He doesn't watch me. I'm sure he's like, who's that? But whatever. But it's interesting. Back in October, we were talking about, me and you the viewer, we were talking about these energies coming through and how those in the mission-based community, who are leading others in this movement. It's action time, it's go time. And so you had to be ready for now about this time. Now, a few months later, I think it was January. Was it January? I saw on Lee's channel, he had a video. I haven't watched it yet, but it's called The Rise of the Light Workers. And I was like, oh, here it is. And then yesterday, I saw San Tarot, S-A-N, Tarot. San Tarot, love her on YouTube. And her video wasn't it Aquarius video? I can't remember. Oh, I think it might have been Aquarius. But anyway, her video, I did watch that yesterday. And it was talking about how, no, it wasn't her. Oh, I love her though. Watch her videos too. But no, it was Cindy. Thank you. Cindy on Awakening to Spirit. That's her video on YouTube, Awakening to Spirit. So Cindy was talking about how people are going to, it was a Leo reading, right? It was a Leo reading, and she was like, oh, if you're watching this video, it's not necessarily going to be you, but for you, but know that the people around you are going to have this experience. And the title was something like PSA, like public service announcement, because it's about to get crazy. Exactly. And I was like, yep, that's exactly what the guides were talking about. Back in October, they're out here letting us know ahead of time. Who's us? Those of you, like I said, who are kind of like leading. I don't say this to make you feel all spiritually significant, because that's not what it's about, but your function is to be leading other leaders in this movement. And for some of you who are leading those who are awakening, either way, it's the group. You just have to be ready. And the way that you can be ready to field these energies is by understanding how your own energy field works. Okay, so I hope that, wow, it's very long-winded, and I'm so sorry, guys. If you do astro, I have a Mercury in Pisces, and we're just out here doing the best we can, right? So great for channeling, not the best for, streamlined narration. But that being said, my guides are like, thank you. Was that so hard? Maybe. So I'll put out a video that's a little bit more streamlined and just more like boom, boom, boom. There it is. And I will do that as soon as possible to talk to you about this integration process. Now, a big part of what I do, so hey, if you don't know who I am, I mean, I'm assuming that you already know if you're watching, but if you don't know who I am, hi, I'm Jonelle, and I'm an intuitive guide, and what I do is I assist people who are going through their awakening process, whether they're in the mission-based community or just people awakening. I assist them in going along that journey in a more informed way. So basically, I assist with helping you to heal your perception. So it's deprogramming. So you notice a lot of what we do is disconnecting from discourse, things like that. It's deprogramming. So healing your perceptions. Second thing is reclaiming your sovereignty. So remembering who you are. When you remember who you are, you remember what you're capable of. And it's about stepping into that inner authority. You're not out here trying to check those noticias, all those news stories and this and that. And yeah, you can look at that, but you look in a different way. And you understand that if anything has to happen out there, it's got to happen inside first. That's it. That's why we say, what is it? Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Now, if you know that we don't run on religion on this channel, because again, that's discourse. But when you get yourself into alignment, what you're getting yourself into alignment with is that higher frequency. And there are frequencies that go all the way up, past illusion, all the way up into oneness. Your job is to collect yourself, deprogram, get into the heart space, activate yourself so that you can see and distinguish, discernment, what the false things are, false beliefs, false energies, false light, whatever you want to say that. It doesn't go all the way up into oneness. It terminates along the field. You can't even get out of the fourth dimension. So a lot of people are following beliefs and having thoughts and feelings, and things seem right and logical based off of conditioning that cycles them right into those false beliefs. Why? Because they're so powerful that there are energies out there that just love to have that energy at their behest. Guess what? Somebody just said something about some celebrity. Now, like droves, thousands of people are stepping outside of their cells, completely asleep, attacking that one person who said something that may have been taken out of context, may have been actually a legit observation, all sorts of stuff. And now they're picking up all this karma. They're doing stuff they don't even have an idea. That's autopilot. Get out of it. And so that's kind of what we do here. We try to help people to heal their perception so they're not moving on that kind of level, reclaim their sovereignty, inner authority. And then in particular, we work with those in a mission-based community again. So once you start that process of healing, you can slip right into your mission work. And that's where you're in more alignment, and then you can assist others. But the reason why you shouldn't just hanging a shingle up to say I'm doing this and that, or I'm an activist, or I'm this and that, without doing the healing inner work, is because you are just moving on fragmentation, fragmented ideas that may not even be real, that are actually detrimental to you. It's a frequency thing. And then because you're carrying that frequency, certain things seem logical, they feel right. You can find evidence anywhere in the 3D world for everything, because the 3D world is just manifestations of everyone's collective consciousness. And when you understand how this world works, you will understand how to make a difference. And it starts inside. You might as well do this, boop, because by the time you're observing anything, it's like the dead meat on your plate, as I like to say. The animal's gone. It's the source is gone from it. It's dead, and you've cooked it. Somebody's cooked it. So why are we wasting time looking in the bank account, getting upset because there's no money in my bank, or looking at my health and getting upset because my health is doing this and that, or looking at my relationship and getting upset because it's looking like that? Close your eyes. Stop wasting time. That is a manifestation of what has already come to pass. That's the physical. The physical is always the last. So you get back to feeling into what it is that you actually want, and notice what comes up. A lot of you're like, I want money and this and that. Stop worrying about the form. Money is form. What is it that you would like? You'd like to feel confident. You'd like to feel comfortable. You would like to feel in control of your life. You would like to feel able to provide for others. Those are the energies you need to start looking at, embodying, feeling, believing that is the reality. But you don't realize that there's so many obstacles to really getting into alignment with that. And I'll give you a quick example. Maybe you say, I want to provide for my family. And me, as your friendly local reader, I'm seeing in your energy field words, I hate my family. Family just drains you. If I work with my family, I don't have time for myself. These are thoughts that are just zapping out what you think you say you want. You don't know what you want. So when you're asking to be a provider for the family, there may be a part of you that wants that, but there are like 3 other parts of you that are actively fighting it, and they're so much more dominant than that other part of you. And now, you see where the conflict comes? So guess what? That inner conflict is going to manifest as what? Outer conflict. You're going to see that dynamic play out in other people's families. You may not even recognize that you have that dynamic inside, and you'll even go so far as to say, wow, I love our family at Thanksgiving because that other family across the street is so dysfunctional and this and that. But then your friendly local therapist will be like, after session 2, like, hey, I think we need to talk, because based on what you told me about your Thanksgiving dinner, it sounds like your family is a little bit dysfunctional by your own definition of dysfunction, right? So the point is that when we do our work, we get in inner work, shadow work, being ideologically flexible enough to have our identity, our sense of identity change and not be threatened by that. That allows us to heal. Because at the end of the day, say it with me, healing has nothing to do with the body. Nothing to do with the body. Healing is only one thing and one thing alone. It is healing your perceptions. And at the end of the day, you may think that you have all these choices. Oh, I can go left and right. I can order pizza, or I can turn this relationship down. I can take that job. And you think you've got all these choices, but all the choices that you make that you're not even aware of that you're making in 1 second or 1 day can be separated into two, boiled down to two choices. Either you are selecting a choice, making a decision in your field, consciously or subconsciously, for a choice that aligns with love, or you are making a choice that may seem right. Your whole society will be like, that's the right thing to do. You went to school for this. You're an expert and you know it is right. Making a choice for fear. Boom. Those are your only choices. But you will be unable to distinguish the two so long as you are in a fragmented state with your traumas that you won't even look at. So that's why the integration has to occur. The heart activation has to be there so that you can distinguish the forms, people, places, things, situation, ideas that vibrate with love or fear. Now, if you're a real G, which you really are, on the highest levels, you understand that the only real choice is what is real and what is false. False is illusion. Like I said, there are structures in the field that manifest in the physical as beliefs and people and all that. They're not real. They don't even go past the fourth dimension in structure. They don't exist. But they exist here because we believe it to, right? And so your job is to get right in the mind so that you can start to identify discernment, capital D, what is real and what is false. In the highest of reality, there's only one thing, and that's love. Only love is real. That's it. If you're seeing anything other than that, you've gone back to sleep. You're out there somewhere. You're somewhere in that shift that needs to wake up, to integrate more. And at this level of the field, we understand that we're just in the world of duality because we're carrying these beliefs. So at this level of the field, it's very important to do your inner work so that you can get into more congruence with what is real inside of you. And it's not your identity, it's not your gender, it's not your race, it's not your nationality, it's not any of that stuff. That's all BS. It means nothing. You close your eyes, it means nothing. Except for what? What you made it mean, right? And for every one person who can be like, yeah, well, blah, 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 I will find you. Well, not me, I don't know. There is somebody out there in this whole world who's living practically the identical situation to you. Could be even in your own family, but boom, their perception of it is completely different. They're in a different mentality altogether. It is only your perception that you're healing. And when you do that, it is a vibrational shift. And when you shift in that vibration, you call into alignment those forms, people, places, things, situations, and ideas that align with that vibration. So that's why in our lives, we can look and identify things that make us feel good and don't make us feel good all in the same day. That's because we have different vibrations going on and being active and at once. And it's interesting because if you can read energy, and if you can, even our friendly local therapists who are very trained to notice things, they, if you're like, let's say if you're with your coworker, I see it all the time. For example, if you're with your coworker and then your boss comes in, your coworker just shifts, and as an energy reader, I can see their energy aspect do that. Shifts from, let's say, their 32-year-old self, now they're 7. I'm like, you're age 7. And then when the boss leaves, now they're age 14. And then when you talk to them about it, they'll be like, oh my God, that is who I was at those different ages. That's fragmentation. Healing needs to happen because it's shifting these altars. You're becoming different people at different times, but it's you. And so the point is we shift out of our age, for example, if we're even at our age, for example, because there's a trauma, there's a triggering that happens, and boom, we get back into that 8-year-old. And we may not realize it, but we're no longer looking at the boss, we're now looking at our father, our mother. And it happens all the time in sessions, and it happens all the time in our lives. So long story short, there's a super long story, and I guess I didn't get to the March energies, so maybe this was it. Anyway, I'll see what I'll do. We'll see what we can. Maybe this is what they want, the extended version of soul integration stuff. But knowing myself, I'll put out another video. But anyway, so this is something they're really trying to get us to listen to. So sorry. If you're still here, thank you for listening. But it's time to get yourself together, because you're going to be starting to feel some energies now, okay? If you're not feeling it already. So I would love to put out another, maybe another reading for the month of March. But this is a big energy that they dedicated a lot of time for us talking about. So maybe I'll just say this is the March reading and then maybe put out another one. All right, let's see if there are any cards that need to come out. So if we need the cards, right? Oh, also, I do chat with a lot of you already, and a lot of you, sometimes the guides are like, spirits like, oh, reach out to this person. So those of you who I do hit up in the DMs, or you feel the need to hit me up sometimes and there are messages that come through for you, it's such a pleasure to work with you. Just so you know, sometimes that happens because I guess that's part of what I'm supposed to do, just to kind of bring certain people messages at certain times. But of course, that doesn't mean it's always the case. But for those of you who are open to those messages when they come through, thank you. And yeah. All right. Anything else you guys want us to know? Or yeah, that's good. That's it. Look, they're like, it's closed. We're done. The message. Thank you. And look at I smiled because look at the message that came through. Courtship. This says courtship, but really just think about it in terms of union, connection. In this meeting, and it's so funny because look at the last card that came out, council. This is a meeting, as you know, we're all channeling here. So this is a very big meeting for you guys. So I'm so sorry if it was not. I hope it came through as it needed to come through. But if you have questions, you know exactly where to find me. And if you feel called to do integrative work with me, you know exactly where to find me as well on my Etsy page. But they definitely wanted to come through and give you guys a heads up because these energies are ramping up. And when these energies ramp up and they come into our field, they will physically reverberate. Some of you will get aches and pains. Some of you will lose jobs. Some of you will change relationships. Some of you will feel like you're going crazy. These are energies hitting your field. Stuff is being kicked up. And then it's time for you to what? Look at what's coming up for you. Now, it's very important that the cleanse card came out in the reversed here. So they're showing that the messages that have come through today are coming through live and from them. So it's not... There's no interference in this message. So I smiled because I'm like, thank you. Just, you know, part two, thinking about all the interference that's out there. Oh my God, as if we don't have enough for ourselves. But anyway, it's my pleasure to work with you guys and for you. And if you'd like to work more closely, you know exactly where to find me. And of course, you know, I'm never on camera, so I never share my stuff. But I actually have this cute little hoodie that I made. Boink! And you can see it more online if you like hoodies like I do, and I would just love to disappear in my hoodies. But that is a hoodie that I currently offer for our mission-based community, Lightworker Starseeds et al. And yeah, that's it. This is the March 2024 reading, and it's been my pleasure to give it to you. I'll put it out today, but please also feel free to check in with the other smaller videos that we do. And I will, before my guides like string me up, just kidding, they wouldn't do that, but I will make a quick and easy set of slides or little lecture, because I know they basically we're just lecturing. This is teacher, healer, motivator is what they told me I'll be doing this lifetime. So this is the healing part / the teacher part. So that's why a lot of my videos are very, very instructive. So just keep an eye out for this video that I'm going to put out, and it's going to be specifically about, I already have the title, maybe I'll use this title, what to expect when you're expecting ... your soul fragments. So keep an eye out. It's just a bullet pointed list about literally what the process is going to be and how it's going to feel, so you can break it out the next time you feel like you're going nuts. And I love that I just saw a flash of light, because they're like, we talking to you. They're always talking to me. I go back and I watch these videos. I might as well make these videos for myself. So if you ever feel a certain type of way and you're like, she's talking to us, like, no, I'm talking to me. And literally, if you want to join on this train, go for it, because we all need it. All right. God bless you guys, and have a wonderful day and wonderful March. Bye.